Welcome in. We got another great lineup this week. The lines look phenomenal. I'm having so much fun here at week 5 of the NFL. Starting to see who's fake and who's not. This continues to evolve. Still early in the season, but we have mentioned numerous times there's certain scenarios this week where if teams get behind, it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult to get out. On the flip side, teams are getting a couple game lead in the division. We've had a number of division matchups. Couple more great division matchups this week. So looking forward to picking. Anthony, what's going on?
Man, I'm telling you, it's another loaded week. It's hard to believe it's already week 5. These matchups are fun. There's a lot to get into for this one. And I'm ready to pick, man. I'm feeling fire. I want to have a great week. I like these matchups. I like how I feel about them. And we disagree. Once again, we have a lot of disagreements this week, which is going to make it even more fun.
Yeah, that definitely makes it fun. I mean, when you look at our pick record, you're, I think, 50% on the spread? Have to go back and look at it over time. But anyway, I'm at 35% on the spread so far on the season. I'm up 10% from last week, though. So it's trending in the right direction. I think you were at 50%.
Yep, right at 50.
So.
32, 30, and 2, I think, is my record right now on the spread.
Yep, so we'll keep it rolling here, and I'm trying to catch up with you. And if I do, I'm going to be very excited. I finished last year 56% against the spread. That's the best year I ever had. To repeat that, I think, is almost nearly impossible. And people think you're cheating or something if you get that high. But if I can get in the 40s, I'll be able to sleep at night. All right, so let's get right into it here. Let's go over to London, the UK, second game on the season in the UK. And I think there's 5 this season, right? So
5 out of the country, only 2 in London, I think.
2 in London, okay. Anyway, it's the New York Giants, the 3-1 New York Giants, plus 8.5 at the Green Bay Packers, who are also 3-1. 9:30 kickoff. What's your thoughts on this one?
You know what my thoughts are on this one? I have never in my life rooted for a tie in the NFL, and I'm doing that for this game. And I'll tell you why. Neither one of these teams deserves to be 3-1. They are 3-1 based on the games they won and lost. I get that. But neither of these teams is good enough to represent a 3-1 team. The Giants, coming in rebuild mode, kind of. Questions around their quarterback, what's going to happen with Saquon, and they're 3-1 right now. The Green Bay Packers, pathetic showing last week against the New England Patriots with a third-string quarterback, certainly not living up to the hype on offense, still trying to find their path. Don't look like a team that's ready to compete in the playoffs. Certainly, if you watch the games, I think you would agree with me. So 3-1 versus 3-1, and man, one of these teams is going to be 4-1. One of these teams that is bad is most likely going to be 4-1 unless a tie happens. And crazy things happen in England. So I'm not rooting. I'm not betting against that being a possibility for sure. But most likely one of these teams will end up at 4-1.
Yeah. And, that's definitely going to happen. And there's no way around that.
Yeah.
Big thing is let's look at the team. Don't trust the receiving core, right? Right out the gate. That's the first thing that comes to mind for the Packers. That is also one of the things that comes to mind for the Giants. So similar in that way where both teams rely on the run heavily. Saquon Barkley looks phenomenal this year. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon looks like one of the best duos in the league. So really this game comes down to who can stop the run, right? Wouldn't you say?
Probably, yes, because both are going to be a run first primarily. And Daniel Jones, if he plays, I'm not even sure of his status for this game right now, but if he plays, he's able to run the ball as well, right? So he can do that too, and he'll be a factor as well, versus Aaron Rodgers, probably not going to show up in the stat sheet running the ball, but he can do more passing, obviously, but he's limited based on the wide receivers. Anyway, yes, run game for the Giants and Green Bay is going to be their primary offense for sure, I would expect.
Yeah, and I would agree. I mean, looking at the defensive side of the ball here, the Giants have given up the 4th most running yards to a running back. The Packers have given up the 5th most yards to a running back. Both teams have allowed only 1 rushing touchdown in the season, but I expect both teams to run at each other and just have a huge day. So, daily fantasy,
Take these
pick
running backs.
anybody from Green Bay, and then make sure you can get Saquon somehow, right? He's probably cost like $15 million on there. But
yeah.
Anyway, who you taking?
Always a tough kit. Who am I taking to what? Win or
Win.
to? Yeah.
Well, I'll say against the spread, and then I'm sure that'll come out.
Sure. The fans of London are going to win this game because it's going to be quite an entertaining game. And if it lives up to the billing of the last London game, that really was an entertaining game to watch. And I hope this one is too. I expect it to be competitive. So the 8.5 line, I think, is just too much. Again, what Green Bay? Are we just making lines based on the logos now? Is that how this is happening? Because both teams here are 3-1. Both have a good run game. 8.5 points is ridiculous in my mind. I'll take the Giants with the points. I don't even care if the backup is starting. We just said that both of these teams are primarily run teams, so I will take 8.5 points for the Giants. But I expect that Green Bay will win the game. I do expect, again, Green Bay will find a way. They'll do it. Even if it comes to overtime, they'll win by 3 points, and move on their merry way because they got a W, even though their roster's not living up to its expectations.
Right, and I agree with you there. I mean, the Giants have kept every game close. That's why they're 3-1, right? Mm-hmm. They bring people to their level and try to beat them at their own game. And I think that's a great strategy with the young roster that they have. So, again, I expect this one to be close. I don't think Green Bay is an overwhelming offense. After playing the third-string quarterback in New England, I think we kind of saw what Green Bay is, and they kind of do the same thing the Giants are doing, right? They're going to try to run the ball, smash mouth, play good defense. So I expect it to be close, so I'm taking the Giants with the points as well. The win, I think, could go either way here, but I think Aaron Rodgers pulls off the win. But I think it'll be low scoring and close, so I went with the under on the 41. So, yeah, I expect the Packers to be 4-1, but the Giants so far have looked pretty good with what they have.
Yeah, I took the under as well. I didn't say that earlier, but yes, I took the under on this one as well.
I think it's almost again.
Don't expect either team to score 20 more points.
If you said over, we'd have to talk for another 10 minutes about that. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got Atlanta +9 at Tampa Bay. Divisional game for the NFC South. Cordell Patterson's out. We haven't seen a lot from Kyle Pitts for Atlanta. I just don't know where to look for this team. We got a rookie receiver who's getting a lot of production.
Drake London, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, so I just don't know what to do with this Atlanta team. What's your thoughts on this one?
I think even if they were healthy, they're running into a bad matchup against Tampa Bay. Tampa has a good defense. They're starting to click on offense. This is a good rebound game for Tampa Bay, and this game is in Tampa Bay. So I fully expect Tampa to show up as the Super Bowl contending team most think they are, and get the offense rolling a little more versus an inferior opponent. Now, the Falcons can still score points, don't get me wrong, but without Cordell Patterson, who is a dynamic piece in their offense, with a Kyle Pitts banged up and not living up to his hype, I think that they're going to be struggling against this Tampa team. So I expect them to put up points, but probably lose this one by 2 scores or more. So I'm taking Tampa -9. And I'll take the under for this one at 48. I think it ends up more around 28-10 or 28-13. Either way, that's going to be under the 48. So, give me Tampa and the under.
Okay, I went Tampa as well, but I'm taking the over. I just think Tampa Bay is going to score a lot of points. Mm-hmm. Offense hasn't really done a lot so far, but I just don't know what Atlanta can do. I don't think they're going to be able to sustain drives. Like you said, this is a great matchup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a bad matchup for the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. So Tampa Bay, they've allowed a lot of yards to tight ends so far this year, so that's probably the only thing you got going for you if you're Atlanta, but they don't use their tight end. He's a receiver anyway, right? So I expect to see heavy Kyle Pitts, if anything, in this game. And Marcus Mariota, why not run him as much as you can? I would try to do that as well, although Tampa Bay has not given up a ton of yards versus quarterbacks either, rushing the ball. So
and as of this recording, Kyle Pitts is down with a hamstring injury, not practicing. So we don't know what his status is for game time, if he'll even be ready.
Right, that'd be a killer for them. That'd be a complete blowout. But I took the over, taking Tampa Bay there. All right, next one, we got Tennessee -2.5 at the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, this is
a run first teams, right?
They want to be, yeah. So Washington, I think, is trying to find their identity. Certainly, the Titans are with Derrick Henry. You know what they're going to do, and you know what Tannehill is at this point. But Washington, with Carson Wentz and some of the weapons they have, Terry McLaurin, they want to pass too. They can run. They have dynamic runners. They just haven't been able to put it all together, right? So I'm not sure what's going on with that Washington offense, and I think this is a potential upset for them. They could win this game, Washington Commanders, but I'm taking Tennessee, and I'm taking them -2.5. I think that with Derrick Henry and that offense and the way Washington has looked on both sides of the ball, kind of lost out there despite their talent level, not living it up to it. At some point, that's got to come down on the head coach and the organization as a whole. So I'll take Tennessee with the points here on the back of Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I like Tennessee as well. I've given up on the Commanders. Carson Wentz, he hasn't done it for me. I think everyone's kind of in the same boat as me. But really, the Commanders are getting up a lot of yards to receivers. So I'm wondering, who can Tennessee turn to, to kind of take advantage of that, right? Yeah, the Commanders have given up over 800 yards to receivers so far this season. That's third most. But who does Tennessee turn to? They can't. They have to go to Derrick Henry. So I expect dump downs, rush the ball, and ride him, right? That's what they got to do.
Yeah. Yep. Ride it out. And maybe Washington puts it together and puts together an upset because Tennessee has put up some stinkers on defense and not lived up to the hype in some games. But I just don't see it happening. That's why I picked Tennessee. And I took the under in this one as well at 43.5. I just don't think either offense is going to score a ton of points.
Yeah, so I went Tennessee with the under as well. So we're on the same page there. The Commanders, they've lost my trust. They've burned me so much.
You're not going to pick them anymore after
I thought they'd be better than they were.
Weeks losing them.
Yeah, I know. But this will be the week. That's how it goes. All right, next one, we got Seattle +5.5 at the New Orleans Saints. This is your most confident pick of the week, FYI.
Yeah, big bet of the week. So you know where I'm going with this one. I mean, I like the Saints. I like this matchup. I think that their offense, even without the guys, their stars, they played at a level that was competitive with an even better team on both sides of the ball in Minnesota versus this Seattle Seahawks team. So I really like the Saints in this one. It's at home in New Orleans. Seattle is an inferior team. To only be -5.5, you should win this game by a touchdown. I expect that Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas could both be back in this one, but even if one is back, that increases the dynamic offense by tenfold, if not more. So, there's a lot to like about this matchup for the Saints. And Seattle scored a lot of points against a terrible Lions defense last week. I don't expect them to maintain that level of production. Geno Smith is an accurate quarterback, but he's not an electric quarterback by any means. So I don't see them taking an advantage here. The Saints defense is really good, really, really good. So I think that also plays into limiting that Seahawks offense.
Yeah, like I said, Geno Smith, the highest completion percentage on the season so far at 76.4. What's that mean? Checks it down a lot. That could be that. It could be making plays, but I mean, really, I think the offense looks pretty efficient for Seattle. They had a bumpy start, but now starting to figure it out. It's really the defense that I have concerns about for Seattle. But again, I look at this matchup and go, okay, well, I think Seattle has a stable quarterback. Seems to be scoring points. Put up 48 on Detroit last week. Is that an outlier? Most likely, yes. But then I look at the Saints, and I see a good team. I see good defense, good players, but the quarterback position's just not. It's just we don't know what's happening. It's week in, week out.
You keep saying that. You're a Jameis hater, man. He was hurt.
I'm not a hater.
Why Dalton played. Now he's going to be healthy and play if he's healthy.
You know me by now, though. I'm not a hater. I'm analytical, and I try to be logical. And here's the facts. The sample size we have tells us that this may be 30 interception Jameis.
Could be, but he's playing against a bad Seattle defense. They probably couldn't take away the ball if he handed it to him. So I mean, it's not necessarily all on Jameis either, right? They're going to run the ball first. They're going to open passing lanes. They're not going to be down by a lot of points in this one. So I think that all favors the quarterback play for the Saints. And yeah, all the way around here, the Saints are the better team. They need this win to keep moving in the right direction.
Yeah, do we know if DK Metcalf's out?
I do not know if he is injured for this one or out.
That makes a big difference for them. I mean,
Tyler
Lockett came alive last week. It could be a shootout. I took Seattle. You got to pick your upsets. I just like, where Seattle's at right now. Efficient offense. They, the coaching always wants to play close, be in close games and win on the last drive, right? I don't see a lot of stability with New Orleans. Yeah, Kamaro's been out. Now he's back, but then he's still questionable. I mean, I hope he comes back to full strength. Michael Thomas as well. He's been out for a number of years. I don't see the stability. Give me Seattle. Give me the over at 46.
Okay. Yeah, I took the over as well in this one. I think even if it's 28-20 or 31-17, that's both in the over for me. So.
All right, so we'll move on. All right, we got the Chicago Bears +7 at the Minnesota Vikings. Again, this is your second most confident.
One of my big bets. Yeah.
But it's basically Chicago's given up on the pass game. They run the ball a ton. They don't score a lot of points, and they don't seem to care about that. But they have been in some close games. They were in the game with the Giants last week. Just came down to last-second field goal there. So Minnesota, on the other hand, 3-1, sitting pretty good. Looks like it's going to come down to the game versus the Packers later in the season for the division, but they're rolling. This one's important for that, right?
Yeah, the Vikings definitely need to show this is a divisional win here, so they have to pull it off here and get that leg up on Green Bay since they have that head-to-head matchup. But they need to show that they can click better than they did in London versus New Orleans with that depleted offense. Granted, they had some injuries of their own as well, and probably are coming into this one a little healthier on defense, especially both sides of the ball. So I just think that Minnesota is by far the better roster, and that's going to show in this one. And they're going to be able to put points up and hold that Bears offense, limit them. So I'm at a score somewhere about 28-10. So I'll take the under. I'm taking Minnesota, obviously, is one of my big bets. -7, and I'll take the under in the points.
Yeah, I like, the Bears are averaging 16 points a game. That's 31st in the league. The only team behind them is the Indianapolis Colts. I like Minnesota. I think Minnesota can score. They're balanced. They can do anything, right? So I like Minnesota in this one with the points, and then also under 44. I just don't think Chicago can score a lot. In today's NFL, you can't abandon the passing game, and that's exactly what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one here. We got the Detroit Lions, most yards in the league on offense, most points scored in the league, the Detroit Lions, +3 at the New England Patriots.
Yeah, this is another one of my picks of the week. So those of you who listen to the Pick Six know that I'm taking the Lions +3 here. I like the Lions offense. And last week they played in that high-scoring game against Seattle without Amon-Ra St. Brown, their best player in my mind, without DeAndre Swift, their number one running back, without a lot of the pieces that make them go. DJ Chark was out for this one. Granted, he's not as huge of a contributor. He's new to the team this year, hasn't been as big as an Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I expect them to look more efficient and look better when those guys are back. Goff is going to be looking better when those guys are back. And this New England offense has a lot of question marks around it with who's going to be playing quarterback. Mac Jones most likely out still with his injury. Is Hoyer able to go? If not, it's going to be that third string again, Zappe. And I don't think that he's going to be able to put up the points necessary to compete with this Lions offense, even if the Lions defense is susceptible to putting up a lot of points. This isn't a good matchup for New England because their offense isn't a very prolific offense to begin with. And the Lions are going to put some points up for sure.
Yeah, I like the Lions here, but watch out for these New England Patriot running backs. The Lions are towards the bottom of the league in yards allowed by running backs. Also giving up 8 touchdowns on the ground, most in the league. Most in the league by far.
Yeah.
So expect a run-heavy game from New England. But I just think it's again, I hope Detroit doesn't become my my go-to team that lets me down, because my go-to teams haven't done well yet. But I picked Detroit just because Goff, I think their passing game's a lot better than New England with the backup quarterback. So I'm taking Detroit for that reason. And then I'm going to go under on the 45.5.
Yeah, I'm on the under as well. I just don't think, even though the Lions score a lot of points, the Patriots defense is still good. I think they'll hold them to a lower number of points than they've averaged on the season so far. And I don't think the Patriots can hang and put up, 20 to 28 or anything like that. So I'm on the under.
Yeah, and our graphic says 46. It is 45 to confirm. Typo. Anyway, next one here, we got the Houston Texans +7 at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Looking for a bounce back from the Jaguars, right? They really, they beat the Chargers, gets everyone excited, go to Philadelphia. Really weren't in the game, right? Got beat up pretty good. Had a lead for a little while, but 5 turnovers in that game. Expect to bounce back. Why not do that in a divisional game?
Right, yeah, but again, who are they facing here? The Houston Texans, ladies and gentlemen, have a sneaky good team. I've said this all along. You saw it in my divisional preview. I like Davis Mills. I like the weapons they have. Dameon Pierce looks like a legitimate RB1 in this league. They can hang. Now, they're not getting the wins, and I did not predict them to get a lot of wins this year. They have no wins currently, 3-1. They have that tie. But I just think they will hang around in this game versus the Jags. The Jags do get a bounce back here. I do think they win the game, but I don't like the 7 points. I will take Houston +7 in this one, even though I think the Jags win it. They're going to win it by 6 or 3. Houston's going to hang around better than people think, and I'm actually going under for the points here. I don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring affair, maybe 20-17 or something like that.
Yeah, the Houston team, they've been playing good defense. I think they're playing for their coach, Lovie Smith. He's been in the league a long time. He's a well-respected name. So you're getting effort from the players, but in my opinion, they don't have an identity, right? Young running back, but they're still, in the lower tier in rushing yards on the season. They have Brandon Cooks, but they're still in a lower tier in passing. So maybe that's the quarterback. Maybe that's the offensive coordinator. But I'm looking for somebody who I can rely on that team, and I just don't see it yet. So I'm taking Jacksonville here. I think they win by more than 7. I see lots of different pieces. We've seen flashes from Jacksonville. I think they bounce back this week.
Yeah, so I think if Jacksonville's not careful enough with the ball, like with the turnovers last week, they're not going to need to give up 5 turnovers to lose this game, right? If they give up 2, or if it's +1 differential, a big one, like a one that puts them in scoring range, the Texans could win this game, and it wouldn't surprise me. So be careful if you're betting this one on what the Jaguars are capable of and what they've shown us so far, right? They wouldn't surprise me if they win this and cover. This isn't one of my big picks of the week for that reason, and that's why I'm taking the Texans, even though I expect Jacksonville to win it.
Yeah, I'm always on the bounce back train. After 5 turnovers, you can only bounce back, right? So go there, and I'm going to go under on the 43.5.
Yep, me as well. Yep.
Okay, another divisional matchup here. We have the Miami Dolphins, led by Teddy Bridgewater, -3 at the Zach Wilson-led New York Jets.
Yeah.
What are we thinking here? I mean, Tua's out. Zach Wilson, are we high on him? Are we low on him? Again, I think a lot of people are kind of twisted on Zach Wilson. We don't know. We want him to be good, but we just haven't seen it, really.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't seen him enough. That's what it comes down to. At the end of this season, we'll know more about Zach Wilson. but I do believe we know what he's capable of. We know what his ceiling is, if you will. I think he's capable of doing elite things in this league, and he has some really good receivers now. And last week was his first week back, right? So this week he's going to start to build that chemistry in the right direction. The Jets are facing a Miami team that's coming in with their backs against the wall because of this Tua situation. That's a big distraction for this team. Their defense has been playing good, but not great. So they have places where you can take advantage of them. The Jets offense has certainly been producing more than people thought they would. And again, those young players on that offense are starting to step up. And now that Zach Wilson's back, that adds a level of dynamic layer that they didn't have before. You know, Zach Wilson can roll out, can run, can make plays on the run. I think this is a bad matchup for the Jets in my mind. So I think that I'm taking the Jets. This is one of my picks of the week with the points, and I'm picking them to win. I'm taking the Jets to win.
I mean, I definitely thought that way. Again, they have pieces. Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis. These are pieces for a young quarterback. You know, they're nice pieces. You got Breece Hall there. Rookie running backs normally perform well in the league. Just not sure about their defense. It's been kind of up and down on the season. But without your quarterback there, you don't really get a good feel on the team anyway. I just think Miami's too good. The Jets have given up 6 touchdowns to receivers on the year, tied for second. This receiving core is too good. You know, it's the Miami Dolphins defense has played phenomenal so far this year. I think the team can carry Teddy Bridgewater. He's the type of guy, he's not going to go over the top as far as stats and carrying the team and things like that, but he will not make huge mistakes, right? And I think they can win with that. I think you get this running game going. Miami really hasn't ran the ball a ton yet this year, but I think that's the bread and butter, right? Coming from that Mike McDaniel, coming from the Kyle Shanahan system, I think that's what they need to draw up, and I think that's a good game plan to beat the Jets.
Sure.
And get to 4-1.
It's not the same old Jets, man. I'm telling you. Not the same old Jets.
Not the same old Dolphins, right? Anyways, one of these teams got to win the division in the next 10 years, please. Anyway, taking the over on the 46. I like the receiving core for Miami. They can score a lot. Also like Zach Wilson can sling it all over the place. So I expect a high-scoring game.
I'm actually taking the under. I don't think either team's going to score a ton of points. It's going to be close, but still, even again, like a 20-17 or a 23-20, that's still not over the 46. So I'm taking the under.
All right, moving on. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. This game plus 14 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is that the highest on the season?
I think that's the highest line so far that I've seen.
The season. And for obvious reason, right? You got a rookie quarterback. Kenny Pickett's finally here, as predicted, right? I mean, it's just anytime you take a quarterback in the first round, first 4 weeks is normally the development time before they start playing, right? It seems to be there might be a training pamphlet somewhere in the NFL where they say, after 4 weeks, start him, right? But anyway, his first start, he goes against a phenomenal defense, a well-coached defense in the Buffalo Bills. Their pass rush is for real this year with Von Miller. Greg Rousseau has taken huge steps for them.
This poor kid.
Yeah, but this is the NFL, and this is what you got to do, right? You're gonna
welcome to the Lion's Den, baby, because you're facing one of the best teams out there. Not even like one of the best, whatever. This is one of the best teams in the NFL, and you're putting out a rookie quarterback. He is probably going to get eaten alive in this one. I mean, he's going to be on his butt a lot, even if he's not sacked a lot. He's going to be running backwards and throwing the ball a lot. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of mistakes as well. Just, he's a rookie. You expect him to make mistakes, whether that be in the form of interceptions, fumbles, trying to scramble when he shouldn't, not going down when he should. Silly things like that are going to add up in this one because the Bills know what they're doing and are a very well-coached, well-run team with very good players on defense. And then you have the offensive side. We haven't even mentioned Josh Allen and his weapons, regardless of who's not available in this game, because the Bills have some banged up wide receivers. Who will be there is Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, and their ability to do what they do. And the Steelers defense that has looked like they've given up after TJ Watt. They've definitely taken a huge step back after him. You expect them to take a step back from an elite defense without an elite player like TJ Watt, but it seems like they just don't have the morale anymore. which is not good. Not good when you're going into Buffalo in a hostile environment versus one of the best teams in the NFL. So nothing about this looks good for the Steelers. I fully expect this to be a blowout. Bills by 3 scores or more.
Damn, 3 scores or more. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find something for the Steelers here. I mean, you got to turn to Najee Harris in this situation, right? You got to try to get him going. Short underneath throws is a good place to start.
The Bills have been shut down on the run defense. So
right, I was just going to say that, they're 4th least on yards allowed to a running back. So,
yeah, and Najee hasn't been able to get it going this year for the Steelers because they have a bad offensive line. So it's not
Bills are
nothing here lines up.
The Bills have also allowed the 3rd least receiving yards to a running back on the season as well. So that's out. So
no screen passes coming in.
Yeah, just gonna have to get creative. I mean, I like Steelers defense is still stout, but it's hard to have morale when the offense isn't performing well and you're on the field a lot. It wears you down. It becomes frustrating. And the Steelers, average yards per drive is at 24.3. That's 31st in the league. That's what's killing that defense. They're talented, but you got to sustain drives to keep them,
and even if they were fully healthy, it's a bad matchup for the Steelers defense. The Bills offense is just that good. So they would be at a disadvantage normally, even with TJ Watt out there. And now without him, it's just that much worse because they need to find a way. You got to generate pressure on Josh Allen, natural pressure on Josh Allen, not with the blitz. And I don't know that they can do that. And that's going to open up the run game. That's going to open up the short pass game. That's going to open up the bombs down the field if they needed or wanted to do that. The Bills are going to eat them alive.
Yeah. So I expect a blowout here. I got to take the Bills and over 46.5 for that.
Yeah, my question was, will the Bills alone score 48 points? And my answer for now is no. So I went with the under. I think it's more like it could be 38-0, and that's still under to me.
So you're fighting the bias there?
38-3, 31-10. I mean, even in the best case scenarios that I find, I'm still at the under. Yeah, fighting the bias to say that.
Yeah, it really comes down to will the Pittsburgh get a garbage time touchdown or field goal at the end?
I don't think they will, but it could be the Bills score. Will the Bills score 58 points? They very well might.
Player prop, will Case Keenum pass for 5 yards or more?
I'll take the over because I think Josh Allen is playing the first half. And that's
and how it would suck if he comes in and kneels the ball and doesn't get any passes. Anyway. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got the LA Chargers taking on the Cleveland Browns. 2-2 for both teams here. Again, we've talked about this week kind of the separation and the good teams and bad teams starts to happen. I'm not going to say it's finalized. Way too early for that. But if Cleveland goes to 2-3, we have Baltimore and Cincinnati playing each other. One of those teams will be 2-3, but now you're a game behind. And both Cincinnati and Baltimore look like tough matchups. So important game for Cleveland. Likewise for the Chargers with the Chiefs in their division.
Yeah, tough matchup for both of these teams. The Chargers had their bounce back game last week, and the Browns are coming off a huge letdown where they should have beaten the Falcons, and they needed to beat the Falcons because of games like this, right? You're still playing without your starting quarterback. With a backup in there, you got to win the games that you're supposed to win and stay competitive so that games like this don't become must-win situations. And now their backs are against the wall against a much better team, in the Chargers. And I think that does not bode well for them. The Browns want to run the ball. And they very well could do that against this Chargers team. But the Chargers are, I think, a more prolific offense all around and are going to be able to put up points on Cleveland. And the way Cleveland's defense has not looked very elite in the games that I've watched, they've been good, but not great and given up some silly plays at times. And Justin Herbert is just the guy who's capable of doing that. So I actually like the Chargers in this one to win and -2.5. I think they win it by 3 or more. And I'm actually going over the 47.5 points because I do think both of these teams are going to be in full out desperation, give it all you can mode. And it ends up being maybe a 31-28 game.
Yeah. again, the Chargers, they've allowed a lot of yards on the ground to running backs, and that's really the key, right? They know that the Browns are going to throw Nick Chubb at them, Kareem Hunt at them. So that matters. I mean, I think they'll be effective, right? But I just keep coming back to that stat on Justin Herbert, and I got to find it. But 300-yard games. He has a ton of them, most ever, right? Only tied with Andrew Luck through 3 seasons, right? 19 career games. There it is. He's had 300 yards passing in 7 consecutive road games. Going to Cleveland, will it be 8? Right?
That's amazing.
I mean, that to me, I'll always take the pass game over the rush game in today's NFL. So give me the Chargers in that one. And I just think Cleveland, again, got to survive until Deshaun Watson gets here, and we'll see what you got, right? But this season for them, I think there was some kind of we're going to make the playoffs and win a playoff game aspirations early in the season, right? So, hang in there is all I can say, but that's not going to happen in this one. I'm taking the Chargers, taking the over on the 47.5.
There you go. We agree on this one.
All right, easy one. Next. San Francisco 49ers -6.5 at Carolina. Weird matchup here.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to agree on this one, though, because last I checked, Baker Mayfield is still playing quarterback or attempting to play quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Therefore, I am taking anyone else. Johnny, anybody who wants to play. Yeah, the San Francisco 49ers playing very well-rounded football as usual. They're going to be good on defense. They're going to be trying to pound the rock and move the ball on offense, right? They don't do anything spectacular. They're not going to be. They have playmakers like Deebo Samuel who are exciting to watch, but they don't, air out the ball. They don't put up mega stats on offense. They have playmakers. Kittle again could put up a 100-yard game, but certainly not going to light it up with Jimmy Garoppolo. But they do what needs to be done to win football games, and they have a very good defense. They're very well coached, and they're playing an inferior team with their backs against the wall that looks like it's given up on its quarterback. It's given up on its coach. The Panthers are in a bad way here. Now, maybe that means the Panthers, because they're backed in this corner, are going to give it all they got and beat the 49ers. But count me out of that conversation. So I'm taking San Francisco -6.5. I think that they win by 2 scores or more, at least 10 points. If not more. This could be an ugly game if it comes down to it. But I'm taking the over here because I do think Carolina will put up points knowing that their backs are against the wall, knowing that they have to make something happen. Yeah,
and Carolina's a tricky one, right? Because they have weapons. They have CMC. DJ Moore is a good receiver, right? You got Laviska Shenault, who I always thought was a weapon. Just recently got him, though. But you look around, this is the worst offense in the entire league, and it's not really close. Last in third down, conversions. Last in drive average. 24th in passing yards, and 24th in rush yards. So I'm sorry, 30th in pass yards, not 24th. 24th in rush yards, 30th in passing yards. You can go on and on all day. It's quarterback play, which some of that has to do with coaching, the offensive coordinator. I mean, it's a dumpster fire right now. But they are one of the more talented rosters in the league, I would say.
They do. They have such great. Everybody was hyped on them. Now I'm the one who splashed water on them and said that they need to show me, right? They need to show me. I do not believe, even though they have good players, that they're going to get the wins. And when you choose to roll out Baker Mayfield and not rely on the back as much, CMC, now they're trying to. Granted, he's coming off injury and he's done what he can, but it's just not been enough for this team to rack up the wins. And with Baker making the mistakes at quarterback again, that's not great. Their backup quarterback currently is PJ Walker, a third-year guy out of Temple.
Right?
Not a lot of experience.
USFL, XFL, one of those two, right?
Yep.
But at this point, I've heard Sam Darnold's name pop up.
Yes, he's injured still, but he's.
But again, there's nothing you can fix here.
No, not.
I get it. Baker's, he's a below average quarterback to average right now, playing in that below average realm. But
average on his best day. Come on now. He's never been above average. Never in his career.
But I feel like there's some things you can do with him, right? Is he an upgrade from Sam Darnold? Certainly.
No.
You don't think so?
No, I think he's also Sam Darnold. They got the same guy.
Yes.
If anything, Sam Darnold has more upside.
I'm gonna look into that some more, but
yeah.
Baker's had good games in the past, right? He's had 300-yard games.
Yeah.
A lot more than Sam Darnold has.
Okay, with a much, much better roster than Sam Darnold could ever dream of having. Much better.
Well, they have equal chance in this roster, right? And
correct.
They both suck, so.
Yes, and Baker won the job. So, and granted, now Sam Darnold's hurt. So, we'll see when Sam comes back what happens.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about if Sam Darnold wasn't hurt, would he play? Very interesting. But yeah, easy one here. I'm taking San Francisco, and double check. I am taking the under 39.5 on this one.
Yeah, like I said, I just think that with the desperation, that's why I picked the over.
All right, let's move on. We have 4 left here. Another 425 game. The Dallas Cowboys plus 5.5 taking on this Rams team. This Rams team's been really up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're one of those teams I'm really not sure what we got there, what we got going on. Kind of reminds me of Kansas City last year. They were kind of coming off the playoff or Super Bowl hangover. Can't remember if they made it the year before, but
yeah.
Just 1 week they would be terrible, 1 week they would be really good, and there's kind of a slump there. I feel like the Rams are going through that right now. Will they figure it out moving forward is the big question.
Yeah, I mean, they really do have to figure out what their issues are in order to still compete in their division and make a run in the playoffs. They're a team that I trust. They just need to make the playoffs, right? They just need to get there. They have the experience. They have a good roster. They've got the players. If they make the playoffs, they're going to be in contention, right? They're not one of these teams that can back into the playoffs and is going to be bounced right away. They have the experience to compete with any team that makes it out of the NFC. So I don't think they're in like desperation win now type mode, right? Versus the Cowboys, who are still trying to maintain that they are good, even without their quarterback in Dak Prescott. That obviously it's been rush hour, right? Cooper Rush has been doing his thing over there. So there's a lot of parallels here where Dallas now at 3-1, even with a backup quarterback, the Rams looking mediocre, but not really necessarily needing to do something about it. Now, the one thing I will say is against the 49ers in their last matchup, their offensive line was abysmal. I mean, the quarterback's going to get killed out there if you play like that, especially against this Dallas pass rush, right? Micah Parsons is going to eat these Rams, right? So he does it against good offensive linemen. So against a bad offensive line, I mean, they've got to do something to figure that out quick. How are you going to deal with that pass rush? Even if you try to establish the run, I don't think that's going to do it against this Dallas defense. I think this is a all-around bad matchup for the Rams, especially given where they are at in their development as a team right now. Coming off of a bad loss versus the 49ers, who always tend to beat them. Like you said, they've been up and down, so this could be their next win and bounce back. But I'm taking Dallas to win the game. So Dallas plus 5.5 here was an easy pick for me. And I do think they end up winning. They have a well-balanced offense with Cooper Rush. They're running the ball, effective screen plays, effective passes. Excuse me, still recovering from COVID. But yeah, I do think that that they're going to continue their winning ways against the Rams here, even though it's at the Rams. Give me Dallas to go 4-1 and get the win and with the points here.
Yeah, and the Rams are, again, set up and down, but the one area they need to improve is their 27th in red zone percentage at 46%. I mean, that's something that's really not like them last year, right? So I think that's one area they can improve. But again, I just like the Rams team. I think their defense in particular, Darren Donald, Jalen Ramsey. I like the matchup here for the Rams versus the backup quarterback. I mean, Cowboys have been playing well, but this Rams team's a different level, right? So I'm going to take the Rams here at home. I'm going to go over.
Did you watch
43.
that Rams defense against Jimmy Garoppolo? Did you watch that,
it's,
Rams?
it's a divisional game. Kyle Shanahan has Sean McVay's number.
But I agree.
That's nothing new.
I agree. But the problem that I have with this Rams team is they are healthy on defense. They do have Aaron Donald. They do have Jalen Ramsey, and they've still been getting their butts beat. I don't know why the defense isn't working right now. Those guys need help. Obviously, two guys don't make a defense, and there's other things going on that those guys are taken out of the equation, even when they do things right. So it's not boding well for the Rams right now, and they need to find that groove. Maybe this is a game where they do it, but don't count me as somebody who believes all of a sudden they're going to figure it out.
They're high volatility, and this is always tough in betting. Is you have to kind of try to gauge the morale of the team, which sometimes is impossible. It is impossible, but like my theory is, they've got embarrassed in their own division last week. I like the theory of a bounce back league where they're going to play probably on national television. I'm sure this one's going to be aired all over the country and the storylines, and you'll have the best announcers, probably Tony Romo, right? I'm not sure.
I think Romo's doing the Bills game this week.
Oh, is he? Okay,
I think so, yeah.
Oh, they didn't put him on the Dallas game this time. Anyway, I like the Rams in the spotlight on this one with the bounce back.
All right. Another one where we disagree, although I am also – did you say you were taking the over? I'm taking the over in this
taking
one.
The over.
It's going to be a high score. Yeah,
we agree there. All right, 3 left. Last one of the 425 games. The only undefeated team in the league, the Philadelphia Eagles, face another bird, the Arizona Cardinals. A lot of birds.
This one's for the birds.
Yeah, lots of birds. Minus 5.5 on this one. First off, how do you like that line?
I don't think it's big enough. The Eagles are 4-0, and they're clearly one of the best teams in the league. Definitely the best team in the NFC. Offense, defense, everything's clicking for them. Big comeback wins. What do you want? What more do you need to see from them? I think it should be closer to 7. If it was -7, then I have to think about it. Okay, can they beat the Cardinals by more than a touchdown? Because I fully expect they will win by 7 points, right? 8 is always that questionable range now. 8 points. Oh, -8. Well, if they win by 7, you lose, right? So -5.5. I mean, give me the Eagles all day. You cannot bet against the Eagles the way they're playing right now at -5.5. If it were 7 or 8, then you can justifiably pick the Cardinals. But please, please do not pick the Eagles, or do not pick the Cardinals getting 5.5. It should be the Eagles all day long here. They're the best team in football, and one of the best teams in football, offense, defense, arguably the best team in football right now, the way they're playing, the way they're clicking. Arizona up and down, right? They had a good week. They're 2-2. I think that reflects where they're at right now, still playing without DeAndre Hopkins. They haven't necessarily played a defense as good as Phillies, as clicking as Phillies is right now. So yeah, I think this is more lopsided than it appears to be with Kyler Murray versus Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. I think that the Eagles win it by probably 10 or more points. So give me the Eagles.
Okay, yeah, I'm going Eagles as well. Going over on the 48.5. And really this one, I see a lot of rushing yards. There's 2 rushing quarterbacks, A. B, I mean, the Cardinals really don't run the ball a lot, but the Eagles, Miles Sanders had a huge week last week.
Yes.
I expect that to continue. Both teams have been good against the run so far, right? Arizona's only given up 304 yards to running backs. Philadelphia's next with 310. That's in the top 10 in the league. But this is the first time Arizona's actually played a running quarterback. They've only given up 16 yards on the season to a rushing quarterback. So, this may be something new for the offense.
It is
here in week 5, right? Or for the defense in week 5. So, and Jalen Hurts is that guy. He's going to stretch you in all kinds of different ways. Yep. Something they're not used to seeing, it seems like. So, I'm going to take Philadelphia here as well. I do think Philadelphia will get beat eventually, right? I don't think they're a super team that's going to go undefeated. I'm not even sure if they're going to win 14 games.
Right.
I don't know if they're on that level yet, but
after this they play the Cowboys, and that'll be a more interesting matchup.
So far, the schedule's been very friendly to them, and I think that continues here. So I take Eagles and under. Yep. I'm taking the under.
Oh, you took the under. I'm taking the over in this one just because I do think the Cardinals can put points on the board.
Yep. I just see I see a lot of rushing, right?
Okay.
And
that could limit the scoring and how high they can go.
Yeah, yep. But Phil, yeah, well, the Cardinals, they can pass the ball, but it's not really effective. You know what I mean?
True, yeah. Against this team, I could see that. Yeah, maybe it ends up like 31-10, and then you don't reach
Right.
that level. But I'm more of the probably 31-20 or something like that, and that's plenty.
Yeah, I think it stays in the 20s. All right, let's move.
Sunday night.
Sunday night football. The Cincinnati Bengals, who've now won 2 in a row, at the Baltimore Ravens, who have blown 2 games in the season. That comes to be the narrative for them. Divisional matchup. This seems to be like we're going to see this matchup again for playoffs. Position later in the season. Who do you like in this one? This could go either way. I'm surprised that this is not a +1 game or the line's not 1.
Yeah, I'm more surprised that the Bengals are getting 3. Again, that's kind of the home away split. When they think teams are even, usually the away team will get 3 points, right? So that tells you, okay, if they're even and the home team has a little bit of an advantage, that advantage is usually in the form of +3. I'm taking the Bengals here, and I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. They're coming off longer rest. They played on Thursday. They've had more time to prep for their big division rival in the Ravens, right? They know how to play the Ravens. The Ravens know how to play them. The Ravens, however, are coming off another home loss where you had a big lead and blew it, right? So even if they come out to a big lead, they're demoralized. Whether they have a good coach in Harbaugh, but they are going to feel the effects of losing 2 games that you had big leads and big holds on, right? And this Bengals team is just like those teams where you got good pieces on offense that are capable of scoring at any point during the game. So I just think that the Bengals have so much working in their favor with that. With the extra rest, the extra time to plan for your big division rival, the fact that they have the morale going in their favor, right? The Bengals' morale is going up, and the Ravens' morale is going down in the toilets right now. And they're playing at home. I think the Ravens have lost 5 straight home games, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
It's just unthinkable in the NFL when you're a good team who's competing. And I think that's going to continue here with the Bengals pulling off another win against the Ravens. And I took the over just because I do think it's a competitive game. Division rivals are going to be gunning for each other. Neither defense has looked elite enough to stop people from scoring, and both offenses are elite. So I expect this to be a high scoring game, if anything, more like 31-28 or even higher. So give me the over, give me the Bengals +3.
Yeah, the Bengals got a lot going for them, right? They're really good on third down, right? 4th best third down percentage in the league. Baltimore has given up the most yards to receivers so far this season. And we know Cincinnati has phenomenal receivers. They're very deep at receiver. They play an air raid style offense, statistically what we've seen is it's favorable. But I'm taking Baltimore because this team I feel like is upset. We saw the blow-ups happening with Marcus Peters, at the coach. I mean, that hurts, right? You got to answer all the questions all week long about why you've blown 2 leads in the past, I think it was 2-week span, 3-week span. That hurts, right? And now here we are, a division game with the team that went to the Super Bowl last year, and it's at home, and they're aware that they've lost a lot at home, So I just think there's added morale, there's added, anger and frustration that they're going to put into the game, and I think Baltimore is going to shock a lot of people and beat this Bengals team at home. So give me the Ravens. And I am taking the over. I think this will be a back-and-forth matchup. But Lamar Jackson has been playing lights out. Joe Burrow has looked really good. You saw the sacks have gone down. I think it was like 7 week 1, 6 week 2, something like 3, and then now 1. So both teams are getting better as we move forward. But I like Baltimore home on this one.
Another one we disagree on. This is a primetime matchup. This is going to be a fun Sunday night game to watch.
Finally a good primetime matchup, right? Sometimes they just put you to bed, right? All right. Speaking of prime time, let's go to Monday Night Football. The Las Vegas Raiders +7. How's that
the
line?
Raiders
+7 at Kansas City at Arrowhead. How are we feeling about this Raiders team? They finally get their win.
Yeah. in ugly fashion against a bad Broncos team. Yeah, that's the problem here, right? The Raiders are going to give it their all versus Kansas City because this is their division rival. They need this win. They can feel it. It's in Kansas City. If they can get this would look great for them. Show that they are true competitors. Kansas City's defense is vulnerable to big plays, I think, versus, with Devontae Adams out there. But the Raiders offense, they've ran the ball well, right? Jacobs has looked good. They've passed okay, and I just don't think they've put it all together yet, right? Derek Carr is not clicking on that elite level with Devontae Adams the way he should, right? And the run game, Jacobs has been good, but not consistently good where it opens up that passing game. And Kansas City is going to be relentless. We know what they do, and they're going to do that against this Raiders team. Raiders have given up points. Raiders have not looked like they can stop good offenses, and Kansas City is a really good offense. I think that Kansas City is going to be efficient and score points in this game, drive after drive, and the Raiders are going to be trying to come back and contend. And because of that, they're going to make big plays. They're going to put points on the scoreboard. But I still like Kansas City to win by more than a touchdown. So I'm taking Kansas City -7. I think they end up winning by maybe 10 points. If the Raiders can pull this off, it would be a huge victory for them. But right now, I have no reason that I can analyze to pick them other than they need it more. And I'm going with the over because this divisional matchup, both of these teams give up a lot of points. I think that's going to result in a high scoring game, but and a shootout in terms of the Raiders being behind and trying to compete. I just don't think they're there and ready for it yet.
Yeah, this is the Raiders always play them tough at Arrowhead, and I expect the same. I just don't know who you turn to. Again, this is one of those teams where like kind of feeling out the new identity here. Who are we? What do we do? Well, you give the ball to Devontae Adams. Like, it's not that difficult. You tried to. They've been using Josh Jacobs a lot. So the offense, I think, has been clicking in that way, using the people that you're supposed to be using. Darren Waller, right? Another piece that they have there. But the defense just really hasn't done a ton so far this year. Really, that may be the reason that they're losing. But again, this one's a tough one for me. I trust Kansas City at home, and that's really what this comes down to is big trust, right? How many times have we seen this, and how many times have we gone through this where, yeah, Kansas City expects the Raiders' best shot. They expect that now, right? And it's just another week in Kansas City because they get it every single year from every single team, right? So for me, I just trust Kansas City. I would not be shocked if the Raiders pull off the upset. Just don't think it's likely. Give me Kansas City at home over 51.
Yep. So we agree on this last one.
Until I see something different from the Raiders, I can't do it. So, anyways, I'm going to jump off here so we can get back to. I just found 2 New Orleans Saints stats that I want to pick on you about.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Has to do with turnovers and penalties. But anyway.
Of course.
We'll jump off here. Thanks for tuning in with us. It's been so fun for the first 4 weeks. We're looking forward to, continuing on to week 5. Hopefully everyone makes money. Anthony's been on fire. Hopefully that continues.
Yeah,
and I got to get in the 40s of my picks. If I'm in the 40s,
almost
I'm happy.
There. Almost there.
I feel like doing this podcast is not a waste, but 25 was a little low. But I'm feeling better this week, so hopefully that continues as well. But
yeah, it's a great week. There's a lot of good bets to be had here. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Some good competitive divisional matchups, some good primetime games, like we said, all around good week for football. So remember, toss your hat in the ring.